Today we're diving into Silent Hill F, a completely new entry in the franchise. This to me is a big deal. Why? Because Silent Hill series has been basically non-existent since back in 2012, minus Silent Hill 2 Remake, which in my eyes wasn't really a full game. But now we've got Silent Hill F, and it's a pretty big deal in many ways I didn't expect. The Silent Hill franchise post 2012 has had its ups and downs and major falls. Downpour and Homecoming didn't quite hit the mark for most people, and the series did not get back to the glory of the first 4 games, but with Silent Hill F, Konami is doing something right with some change. Some might hate it, but I think many will love it. New setting, new time period, and a fresh perspective on a long past horror game. They've definitely flipped the franchise a bit in my eyes with this game, but let me explain. In Silent Hill F, you play as Hinako, a young girl living in the 1960s, but by the way, you are also in Japan, not Silent Hill. You're in a small, fog-covered town. You're not just battling monsters in this game, you're also transported to a bizarre, unworldly dimension. If that does not remind you of Silent Hill, I don't know what will. The game sticks to its survival as its core of the game, which is nice when you want that nostalgia. You're exploring foggy streets, dealing with disgusting monsters, all while trying to get a sense of what's real. It's a familiar formula, but with a fresh twist, something Silent Hill fans will definitely appreciate. There's more combat here than I expected, and while it's not groundbreaking, it works. The combat system feels unexpected in many ways. You've got a stamina bar that you really need to manage for dodging and attacking. There's even a perfect dodge mechanic that gives you a small window for a counter attack. This is very Uncharted vibes in my opinion. However, combat can feel frustrating at times. The main character is slow and relatively weak. This definitely keeps the tension high, but there are moments where you'll miss a swing and that'll make you feel helpless, something that for better or worse adds to the survival horror experience, but it also hit the rage annoyance marker mentally for me. You also have a sanity meter which affects combat by allowing you to do a focus attack. If you run out of sanity, enemies start doing more damage to your health. Balancing your sanity is essential, pretty much like real life. This is especially noticeable on the higher difficulty levels. The major issue with combat comes in small, tiny spaces, such as alleys, etc., where the camera and lock-on systems become difficult to manage and deal with. When you're fighting monsters in small rooms, it can get downright annoying and frustrating. Plus, there's a lot of combat with not enough enemy variety, which makes it feel repetitive by the end. You'll find yourself fighting the same or similar monsters for hours, which can get truly tedious. The scaling on monsters didn't hit the mark here, in my opinion. The progression in Silent Hill F takes you through a lot of exploration. You'll find items you can trade in at shrines for upgrades like better stamina or health. The game also has an inventory system that can feel a little stressful since Hinako never has enough space to carry everything she needs. This will definitely add to the survival experience in many ways. You'll constantly juggle health, sanity, and weapon repair items, which adds a layer of risk versus reward. Do you venture down a side path and risk breaking your weapon for a few healing items? Sometimes it's a tough call. As you explore, you'll encounter 2 distinct worlds, a town and a darker, creepier version of it. The second area starts off pretty dull, but eventually picks up. However, visually, it doesn't quite compare to the classic Silent Hill worlds we're used to. That leads me to the puzzles. The puzzles in Silent Hill F are fairly challenging, and they have their own difficulty slider. Some puzzles are great, but there were a few that felt a little ridiculous. The game can lock you in rooms until you solve them, which I think can be frustrating for some if you get stuck. But overall, the puzzles are unique. I don't think you will feel like you're doing the same one over and over, which is a major plus. Hinako's journal plays a key role in puzzle solving, giving you hints and additional context. It's worth checking often because it contains more than just puzzle clues. It has history and backstory that fills in the blanks of the game that came in a little bit vague. Now let's talk about the story. Silent Hill F has a lot of lore scattered around, which adds to depth and the mystery of the game. The story seems to be intentionally vague, and while it might not satisfy everyone, I think it may be exactly what Silent Hill fans are looking for. A strange, dark story filled with elements that leave room for interpretation. Visually, the game looks pretty good, the art direction is on point, and the town and interiors are filled with the atmospheric detail that make you feel like you're really living in a foggy, unsettling world trapped to survive. The grotesque monster designs are pretty top notch, giving off that perfect Silent Hill vibe, but the sound design is where it hits the mark. It really builds a ton of tension, even if it's not quite as iconic as Silent Hill 2 in my eyes. There's a new Game Plus mode which brings additional content like story elements, items, and puzzles. It's a nice touch, but I have mixed feelings about it personally. By the time I finished the main game, I was a little burnt out from the combat specifically, but the added content in the new Game Plus is substantial enough to make it worth checking out. Even if I didn't initially feel like diving back in, it swang around and came back to me. Now remember, I give this review being a horror game fan, so please keep that in mind here. Overall, Silent Hill F is a solid return to the franchise. Well, it's not a perfect game, and there are some annoying elements, especially in combat. It does deliver what Silent Hill is mainly about, a creepy, atmospheric world with a story that keeps you locked in. The game's definitely got its flaws, but if you're a horror game lover, then it's an adventure worth having, especially if you're a fan of the original series. It definitely ain't no 10 out of 10, but let's be honest, what is these days? But it's a good game with a compelling story, good atmosphere, and some truly unsettling monsters. If you're a Silent Hill fan, it's definitely worth checking out. That's it for this review. What do you guys all think of Silent Hill F? Are you excited about the new direction of the series? Are you just happy to get something from the series? Or do you feel like it should have stayed more traditional and tried some new things to make it feel refreshed? Let's talk about it in the comments below. I appreciate you all. See you on the next one.